Hi there, I'm Michael Fasanello, Crypto Compliance Officer at Web3 security and risk management firm AnChain.AI. Today I'm talking to Philip Werlau, AnChain's Senior Smart Contract Security Researcher. Philip, welcome and thanks for letting us take a peek at what you're up to.
Of course, Mike. Great to talk to you.
Likewise. So, I've heard you guys had a great showing at iHack NFT down there in Miami a couple of days back. I've heard of iHack, but I've never actually been. You want to tell me about it?
Sure. So iHack NFT is our smart contract learning platform. Helps people kind of get started with smart contracts with Solidity, and not just build them, but also hack them as well.
Awesome. So, speaking about hacking, everybody in Silicon Valley is talking about this new Chat GPT. Seems like the newest viral AI solution. I'm admittedly a compliance and legal nerd, not too dev savvy, engineer savvy, but to steal a quote from one of my favorite dramas, Margin Call, "Speak as you might to a small child or a golden retriever."
All right, sounds good. Sure. Yeah, it's a really cool program. But you have to have some caveats there because it can be a little bit deceiving if you don't know what to look for. So let me show you an example. Let me pull it up right now.
Great, thank you.
Um, One of the examples I can show you is let's just throw one of the smart contracts that we use for our iHack NFT challenge in there. So let's go ahead and ask it, uh, what does the following smart contract do? And then I'll just paste in the code and let's see what it says. So it's giving a pretty good description of what it is, talking that this contract is a time lock. It's a contract that implements time lock features. So it does a really good job of actually breaking this stuff down, of giving kind of a plain English explanation, still pretty technical, but plain English explanation of what's going on in this contract so you don't have to read the code yourself. This really shows one of the biggest strengths of this is giving kind of this interactive explanation. And if you had questions, you can go in and ask it follow-ups. Do you have any questions here? We can ask it some and see what it says.
Hmm. So what are some of the pros besides being able to break it down, fairly accurately like this? What else can this thing do?
It can write code, even if it won't be super accurate. You can ask it to write functions. You can ask it, how could I call something? Let's say, how would I call the withdraw function? Yep, perfect. Wow, it even gives you a little bit of code to show you exactly how you would do this with some of the libraries. And I mean, I'd have to look through this, but it looks pretty accurate. You could use Web3 contracts, you establish the ABI and the address, and then you reference it and hit the withdraw. Now, some of it is a little bit wrong. The syntax here is not quite right. So this is what I'm talking about, that you can get in trouble if you don't know what you're doing here. Um, it's about 90% correct, but that last 10% means you can't just copy and paste this code in and run it. You'd have to kind of play around with it. Um,
Basically, it can help you, with the lighter lifts, but for a heavy lift, you should really give this thing a thorough once or twice over.
right, exactly. Another thing I can show you here is let's ask it about vulnerabilities. This is a part of our iHack NFT platform, so I know that there's one in here, and specifically, I'll give away the key. It's integer overflow. So this is a time lock. It's supposed to lock it up for 1 week, and you can increase that, but you're not supposed to be able to decrease that. You're not supposed to be able to take your money out like less than 1 week from when you put it in. The vulnerability would be to send it such a large number that the integer rolls back over to zero and you can take out your money immediately. So let's see if it can figure that out. Um, does the smart contract posted above have any vulnerabilities? Let's see what it says. So, like most of what it does, it'll caveat and say, hey, this can be difficult to find out, but it does try and guess and see what it could be, what you could do. So it says one potential issue with this contract is it does not provide any mechanism for users to cancel their deposit or reduce lock time. Well, that's not really a issue that's intended in the contract. Um, so it didn't really get the answer right. It threw out some kind of logical sounding stuff, but it's not really relevant to this contract. Let's see if we can hold its hand a little bit and kind of push it in the right direction. Um, is the contract vulnerable to an integer overflow? What it says. Ah, so it didn't find it. It's telling me pretty definitively that the contract above is not vulnerable to an integer overflow. It gives me kind of a little bit of an example of what it is. So a lot of this is pretty accurate. Talking about the UN type, that the maximum value that we would be able to do is 2 to the power of 256 minus 1. But it's telling me that it's unlikely for this to actually occur here. And it kind of gives a bad um, example or bad suggestion on what to do. So what's important to remember here is that this is not a general AI. It doesn't actually check itself for correctness. It's a language model. So it's ingested tons and tons and tons of forum posts and internet posts in all types of languages, and it can kind of copy what other people have said and remix what other people have said, but it's not good at finding novel vulnerabilities or really explaining in detail something it hasn't seen before.
So is this like a closed universe type setup? Like what I think we had talked about this a little bit earlier today,
Mhm.
uh, before we came on here. It's like it seems like it can learn within a conversation with you, like you were talking about earlier with the hand holding,
Right.
but can it do that outside of your conversation? Can it use interactions with other people?
Nope, nope. So the model has been trained on a set of data that they even talk about. It goes up to the year 2021. So sometime in last year they kind of cut it off. The only memory it has, the only way it changes is responding to the exact thread you have. So if I were to hit reset thread, it would forget everything it talked about earlier.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not adaptive. It doesn't grow. It's not dynamic. People's conversation, like some other AIs that have been out there, that it will kind of learn what people are saying and grow better. It's pretty static to the information that was trained on and your previous conversations.
So unlike my wife's memory, this thing actually has a delete button.
Right, right, exactly.
Very cool. Final thoughts. I mean, I think this thing was pretty powerful, even though it's got some bugs here and there. I mean, are you concerned about your job being replaced at any point by AI? Or
Maybe in the future, but we're not there quite yet. As I've shown, if you don't know, if you're not more of an expert in the field that you're asking it about, you might not easily be able to pick up its errors. So you still, it's a useful tool for those who are in the field who want to use it to help them in their job, but it still needs babysitting. It still needs someone who knows what they're talking about and can kind of point out, hey, it got this wrong, and this wrong. If you're asking it something you have no idea about, you could potentially be getting the wrong answer and not even know it.
very, very interesting. Well, thank you so much for showing us today. AnChain.AI, we're happy to partner with OpenAI to improve its smart contract security knowledge. As you know, Phil, our CEO, Victor, is a huge fan of Elon Musk and OpenAI, and we here at AnChain believe Web3 security needs more AI. So thank you so much for showing this to everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely.